Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Monterey Bay Aquarium Sea Otter exhibit. Now, my name is Eric. I'm a naturalist here on staff, and if you're wondering where my voice is coming from, I'm standing on the left-hand side of the second floor mezzanine waving at ya. Hello, everybody. Now, we're going to be kicking off our sea otter feeding and training session at 1:30 today, but before then, I would like to do a little bit of rearranging. If I could have everybody right up at the glass windows take one big step back from them so you have a nice amount of space between you and the pane. One big step back, please, folks. Thank you so much. This will be the perfect time now to take a look around us and see if there's anyone a bit shorter or with a mobility device that could greatly benefit from filling that space. If we could accommodate for any little ones or folks in mobility devices, that would be utterly amazing and ensure that everybody gets a good look at the action. I also have a bird's eye view of the exhibit on the monitors right above all of the windows as well, so no one's truly missing out on the fun. Lastly, we encourage you to take as many photos and videos of the action as possible, as long as we make sure that the flash setting on our picture-taking devices is disabled. Our otters will thank you, and your pictures will surely turn out better as well. Now, I'm going to be hopping off mic to perhaps answer any burning questions as we wait for 1:30, and we'll get started in just a few minutes, folks. Well, good afternoon once again, everybody, and welcome to the Sea Otter exhibit. If you're just joining us today, my name is Eric. I'm a naturalist on staff on the second floor mezzanine, and you have come to the right place at the right time, because in a moment, we're going to be joined by our amazing animal care team for a feeding and training session with our southern sea otters on exhibit. I have the action on the windows and on the monitors right above everybody, so nobody's going to miss out. And you can see our otters are getting ready for that session by preparing to do what we call stationing. Now, our animal care team is going to come out and they're going to ask these otters to perform a variety of different behaviors for them, all related to their care here at the aquarium. You can see that our team is coming right out onto the deck, and they are doing something called stationing with these otters. These animals have been trained to go to specific parts of the exhibit every time, no matter who they're working with, and this all helps us take a good look at each and every otter. We even ask them to do certain things like come out onto the back deck so we can get an even better look at their bodies, all for basically mini health checkups. Inspecting their fur, their heads, their flexibility, this is all for their care. Now you can see we're bringing some of our otters back around. It looks like we took Kit and Selka back there, leaving Ruby and Ivy from left to right. Ruby is the one on the left here. Ivy is the one with the blonder fur on the right to hang out with us in the exhibit today. Now, I mentioned that these are a lot of times for their care, but they can also be used for a great mental and physical stimulus for our otters. We ask them to do things like swimming, diving, even playing around foraging for their food, all to help them exercise and hone their natural behaviors that they would use in the wild. Now, our other two otters seem to be going behind the scenes for just a quick little checkup, and they'll probably join us even later on. Now, all of these go a long way to make sure our otters are mentally and physically stimulated, like I just said, but they also help us forge a better bond with our trainers and make sure that they are comfortable with the people and the tools we use both on and behind the exhibit. So sometimes we'll even bring out certain targets or lures so that they can have something to focus on and be ready for them when we do a full health checkup behind the scenes. But they don't exactly have to do it for free. We use a system called positive reinforcement with our otters, basically rewarding them with their favorite treats for doing the correct behaviors. If they're not that interested in one, that is A-okay. We can always circle around to it or even try it again next time. You can see some of our team is coming out as well to work with some of them more one-on-one here. Now on the menu with that positive reinforcement is a nice mix of shrimp, squid, and shelled clam's tongue. And you can see we're even using that target that I mentioned earlier, basically to give our otters something to focus on and further reward them for being so patient with us. Sometimes we'll even have them come out onto the deck to follow that target to make sure that they have something to focus on while we check on their eyes, their snout, even their ears. Like I mentioned, we're feeding them some shrimp, squid, and clam tongue today. These are all invertebrates, or animals without backbones. The southern sea otter is known to dine exclusively on this type of food, and a lot of those come in hard shells as well. So otters are some of the few animals to use tools to break into those hard-shelled animals, be it rocks or other hard surfaces around them. Now, we used to give them those fully shelled animals on exhibit, but we learned very quickly the hard way that a great tool for breaking into those shells are the glass windows that you're looking through right now. Yep, we want to preserve your viewing experience, so we make sure to give them those hard-shelled foods behind the scenes, but we are more than happy to give them the meat on exhibit or even toys filled with that meat, just so they don't break the glass. Now you can see Ruby has been asked to come out onto the deck, even climb up onto that rock. It's a good way to assess her flexibility and mobility, just to make sure that they are comfortable in their natural environment. And you can see that it also helps show off that nice, luscious fur coat that she has. Sea otters have the densest fur in the animal kingdom, with a whopping 1 million hairs per square inch. That helps protect them from the cold 52-degree waters in Monterey Bay and up and down the coast. Now that fur traps an extremely high metabolism, and that is why we have multiple feeding and training sessions throughout the day. Otters have to eat up to 25% of their body weight every 24 hours, and to put that into a human perspective, that's like us eating over 20 large pizzas every day. It is quite the eating challenge. Now, unfortunately, that amazing fur, that dense fur coat, is what attracted the fur trade of the 1800s to these animals, and what used to be a population of tens of thousands was gradually diminished to less than 50 by the time the fur trade was banned. These animals are critically endangered, and local actions like the establishment of marine protected areas, advocations for the Endangered Species Act and Marine Mammal Protection Act have been able to bring their numbers back up to about 3,000 along our coast. It is still considered a fragile population, so the aquarium is doing its part to help restore those wild populations. You see, all 5 of our otters that we have here at the aquarium are deemed non-releasable by the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife, but we fully intended to release them as part of our rescue and release program here at the aquarium. But for reasons related to their health or behavior, they have been deemed non-releasable, so they have to remain with us for continued care. But their connection to the wild doesn't exactly end there. You see, as soon as we find any rescued or abandoned pups, we're able to bring them right here to the aquarium, where our otters on exhibit are able to go behind the scenes, be paired up with them, and teach them all the skills they need to survive. This adoption program has been able to rehabilitate and release dozens of pups in its lifetime, and that is why we like to emphasize a lot of these natural skills like swimming, diving, banging up toys against the glass, just so that they can pass them on to the next generation. If you haven't already, I highly recommend going to our auditorium today around 2 o'clock to see Luna, a sea otter story. That follows the journey of just one otter through that amazing care program, all the way to release. Now, as you can see, we're having our otters do a variety of different behaviors, and it looks like our trainers have gone behind the scenes for a little bit, not before giving them a little jackpot, a little bundle of food to thank them for participating in this activity. You'll probably see them engage in their next major behavior to make sure that fur is nice and safe, grooming. If you see our otters rubbing their bellies, their face, even their tail, that is all to make sure that that coat has a lot of air bubbles and is free of contaminants so they can stay nice and warm in these chilly waters. But I'm going to slowly make my way off mic to answer any more burning questions you folks may have. I would just like to thank you once again for joining me here at the Sea Otter exhibit, folks. Once again, my name is Eric, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.